Welcome back, Raider Nation, to the LV Raider 10 YouTube channel as the Raiders lose one in a heartbreak in Miami as a score of 13-20 in a game that's seen the Raiders defense really step up and do their job versus a Raiders offense that struggled to move the ball at certain points in the game. Let's go ahead and start by talking about that offense. And something that I've seen all over Raiders social media recently has been everyone talking about how Bo Hardigree is not that much better of a play caller than Josh McDaniels. He absolutely had a couple of play calls, especially on third and fourth down, that were extremely kind of mind-boggling in my opinion. I do think that a screen to Hunter Renfrow and a couple of other screens were kind of questionable, especially on the down and distance that he called them on, and they didn't seem to be blocked very well either. So those were probably the most egregious in my opinion when it comes to Bo Hardigree's play calling ability, but I really think that it was doubled down by the decision making by Aiden O'Connell. He really held onto the ball for a lot longer than what I would have liked him to, and I think that also comes in conjunction with play calling because as an offensive coordinator, you want your rookie quarterback to have the ball out of his hands really quickly, and especially in a Raiders offense that is obviously influenced by the Josh McDaniels Patriots offense that really emphasized on the short, quick passing game. But the Raiders' offensive struggles really stem from taking early penalties on first and second down, which then forced Bo Hardigree to need to call longer developing plays and kept the ball in Aiden O'Connell's hand, which then constituted the Raiders to having short drives and having to punt the ball away, which then put the pressure back onto the defense, which although was having a great day, still you would like to see the Raiders offense have sustained drives and obviously finish with points. But on a higher and much more exciting note, Michael Mayer and Hunter Renfrow looked absolutely great in this game, and I'm really liking the way that they are really implementing more ways to involve them in the offense. And I'm hoping that with the more spreading around of the ball on this offense, it will open up other players like Devontae Adams. He won't have to be double teamed as often, and Trey Tucker can really spread the field up vertically. Let's go ahead and start talking about the defense now. And as a Raider fan, this one makes me really happy because the Raiders defense is starting to get really turnover hungry, which is absolutely great to see. I don't think I've ever seen a Raiders defense get extremely hot in the turnover game, and I'm really excited to see what and if the Raiders can capitalize on all of these turnovers that they've had recently. In total, the Raiders defense has 14 takeaways. They have had 8 through week 8, but in the past 3 weeks they've had 6. I'm really hoping that the Raiders defense can continue this trend going forward because I believe that winning the turnover margin will give the Raiders the best chance to be winning games. The Dolphins' offensive scheme and their utilization of RPOs really seem to have the defensive front for the Raiders on edge because I do recall seeing on multiple plays where the Dolphins were running an RPO, an interior defensive lineman for the Raiders were getting caught in that mesh point, and you can kind of see them over pursuing the ball, and then Tua would just loft it right over their heads for a simple completion. Another thing that seemed very prominent to me during this game was the Raiders' defensive need for another premier pass rusher because Max Crosby was getting double teamed a lot, and then Tua was getting the ball out really quickly, but on longer developing plays, he seemed to have all day to throw. And I know that Malcolm Koonce has slowly becoming into an absolute stud, and also that Tyree Wilson is still only in his first year and he needs to continue to develop. But the Raiders are in need of pressure on passing downs, and it's becoming more and more obvious that obviously Max Crosby can't do it all by himself. He's going to need help, especially against teams that have explosive offenses, like two that reside in our division in the Chiefs and the Chargers. The Raiders are going to need to find somebody to be on that opposite side of Max Crosby. And of course, we're still hoping that maybe it could be Koonce or it could be also Tyree Wilson, but the Raiders are in desperate need of that help now. All in all, I think that the Raiders defense played an absolute spectacular game, especially against a Miami offense that could torch any team realistically. Um, It really just came down to the Raiders' offense being incompetent and not capitalizing on the turnovers that the Raiders' defense provided for them. I do think that the Raiders' offense will come around eventually. I'm just hoping that it comes around sooner rather than later so they can still possibly salvage this season and possibly get into the playoffs because right now they're looking pretty good and they just need to put it all together. And I'm really excited about this team. There is a lot to be optimistic about on this team, and there's a lot of building blocks that moving forward could really help the Raiders in the future. And I think this game really showed the potential that the Raiders have, not only for the rest of the season, but also for the next couple of seasons, and how far we really are. I don't think the Raiders are that far off, and I'm hoping that from a game that I think that the Raiders and the coaching staff can really learn a lot from. I'm excited to see what they can do throughout the week, as well as next Sunday against the Chiefs. And with that, Raider Nation, I'll go ahead and leave you. Please leave a like and subscribe. Add any comments that you would like. I will go ahead and be answering any comments, anything that you guys want to see me go ahead and cover on. And I will see you guys next week against the Chiefs. Just win, baby, and peace out, Raider Nation.